some point.
How we doing, boys?
Well,
I think the last time, I was just thinking this during the little intro there, I think the last time we recorded a podcast was a live reaction to KU beating Duke.
Yep.
And boy, does that feel like a century ago. I don't know. I think we got a lot to talk about. I'd be curious. Chat. Well, first off, go subscribe, like, do what you got to do to support. We appreciate it. But also, like, I've already seen some comments. Some people are panicking. We're hitting the panic button. Chat, let me know. Are you guys panicking? I don't think I'm quite there. But I could be talked into panicking. And I think so I want to pass it to you, AB. And or I guess and then B turn, you can follow up with him. But I know AB has kind of he's battling mentally right now.
It's a dilemma. It really is. I don't know how to handle this one. I think I was right from about a year ago when we were talking about KJ Hunter and Juan just not working. But at the same time, I don't want to just like, it's not something I'm pumped to be right about. Like I would have loved to be wrong and us be truly the number one team in America and actually have a chance at a championship, which they still might. I mean, I do want to know, or I want to say, it's December 9th. There's a lot of ball to be played. We haven't played a conference game yet. Typically, the Bill Self team takes their turn around Christmas. They get a week off this week. Things can change, but I mean, guys, it's the same thing. Ken Palm says that the percentage of points we make from three-pointers is 287th in the nation. 287.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. Like, that's the whole
crazy
point I was making last year. So there's no spacing when those three are on the court together.
But why? And we're going to get to this, but I will just say it can work, but you can't play them 38 minutes a game. And we're going to get to all that. But so
they don't sit.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't sit. KJ and DeJuan played every single second in the second half. And you saw pictures again at Creighton where the spacing was an issue, where KJ's just kind of roaming. There's three guys on Hunter in the post. So I think that's forced Juan to feel like he's got to get shots up because then they're leaving him. I mean, his career high in field goal attempts in a game was 16 before the Creighton game. And before that, it was like 13. And the last two nights, he's a combined He took 20 shots against Creighton, 16 against, I think he's 11 for 36 or something.
Yes, I can get you the exact numbers because I was rage texting somebody about this today. I think he's 11 of 35 over the last two games, and 20 of those were two-pointers. So, and by the way, some of those 11 have been three-pointers. Like, he's made a couple threes. So he's like 9 of 25. I don't know, something crazy from two. And I tweeted this.
As a team, too, from two. At one point against Creighton, they were 14 for 42 from two. And when you think about twos, they're not like long. They're usually not long 18-footers or jumpers on the line. They're usually a KJ floater or a DeJuan layup or a Hunter layup. Like, they're usually 5 feet or in. So going 14 of 42 against, I mean, even against like a UConn last year or 2 years ago against Sonogo and Klingen is impossible. 14 for 42. At one point, shooting 2-pointers.
Yeah, and
it's not possible.
I didn't have a horrible time, or I wasn't like mad at the shots DeJuan was taking, but that's a huge issue when you have guys like AJ Storr, Zeke Mayo, Rylan Griffin. I know Rylan didn't play against Creighton, but like Hunter Dickinson, you've got these guys that you went out to go help you with your scoring. How in the world does it ever get to the point where DeJuan Harris has to shoot 21 times in a game. It wasn't him forcing the ball. It was there was nobody else to go create a bucket. There was no offense. There was no flow. And I don't get how we've come back to this.
I have a take
The
on
same
this.
thing.
I
The
have a
same
take on
three.
the newcomers though, like with Storr, Zeke, Griffin. Do we have to start looking at transfers as potentially like freshmen coming in under Bill? Like they're not going to have his trust until a third of the way through conference play? Because like I know we were talking, I think it was Vern that was saying in the group chat yesterday, like there's no way these guys are getting a rhythm. There's no way they're going to build any confidence if they're just getting bitched at and benched at every single game. And Self kind of called out Storr in the presser after the game yesterday. He's like, he's just not where we need him to be. And it was like a long-term decision. And if that's what it is, I guess I get it. But at the end of the day, it is frustrating to see these three guys that we were told. I mean, Bill told us at late night this was about as excited as he's been. This is a team we're going to be proud of. This is a team that's going to compete for big-time wins. And it's not there yet. And I think it's fair for everyone to panic because we're haunted by the last couple of years, to be honest, with roster fits and lineups and coaching questions that we have, even though in my mind, I don't think we have any right to question Bill Self. But at the end of the day, some of them are valid questions. Like, I don't know.
Well,
It's a spot because I don't want to be overreactionary to it. But at the same time, it's like, okay, well, it's not something new that we're reacting to. It's something we've seen for the last 12 months.
Yeah, I've never really questioned our coaching staff this much since Bill Self's taken over, or at least in the last 10 years or so. I mean, I'm the biggest Bill Self truther out there, and it feels weird that they can't. Maybe it's not that they can't figure out what the issue is, but I don't get how they can't really make it work with a ton of transfers now. I mean, Diedrich and Malik worked, but those are guys that sat out. But new transfers, I just feel like we've been scarred the last few years, and it doesn't. I know it's early in the year, but I don't understand it. And AB said it, like, we've seen so many guys that Bill Self falls in love with, and when he earns your trust, you can get away with a lot. Like, you can get away with murder, and he's still gonna play you because, like a Dewan. And then I'm not saying Dewan's fucking up; it's just an example. But new guys or guys that are in his doghouse, freshmen, new transfers, if they do something wrong, we talk about it all the time. It's a quick hook. So yeah, it's tough to get into a rhythm. AJ Storr feels like a guy he's like an ISO guy, get him the ball and get out of the way. That doesn't really work at KU. Rylan Griffin to me looks like a completely different player than he looked like at Alabama last year. And it is a huge change. You're going from Oates' system where you're fucking running and gunning to KU where you're going to play a little slower. You're going to play through your bigs. So I'm just not sure what's going on with Storr and Griffin, because we talked about this too. The end of the UNC game, we were wondering why Storr wasn't out there, but Rylan was. The Duke game, Rylan played the final 12 minutes. He played every single second, and AJ Storr was nowhere to be found. But yesterday against Mizzou, when AJ Storr is just throwing up clanks, he's playing, and Rylan Griffin's nowhere to be found.
Well, he makes a three. Rylan Griffin makes a three early in the half. Then he gets the flagrant, and I know he was sick, so I don't know. But yeah, for him to just get no minutes after he makes a three was odd. So I don't know.
We said it all off season, dude. These guys can play. Dewan and KJ can play and have roles. They can't play every second. They can't.
The thing that upsets me the most is Bill even said at the end of yesterday, he said, we're really good when they play well. And when they're not playing well, we need the other guys to step up. Well, then fucking let them. But neither of them were playing that great yesterday, and they both played 30 plus. One played the damn near the whole game. Like if that's your thought on it, then go let the other guys pick it up, because if they're sitting on the bench, they can't do shit.
Isn't this where you build some chemistry and get some guys some confidence in the non-con going into league play? But instead, you're going to wait till league play where they have no confidence. They know if they fuck up, they're yanked.
So let me say this, because there is a part of me that it's like there's two ways of looking at it. I think Bill Self is obviously a very tough guy to come in as a transfer, learn a system, and be able to play loose and free like a lot of these guys have at their prior schools. But I'm not going to necessarily fault Self for that 100%. Like, part of it has to be AJ Storr has turned into a jump shooter. Why is that? Is that Bill Self's fault? I don't know. Zeke Mayo had a great start to the year, and now is just kind of indecisive, over dribbling, over pump faking, can't get comfortable. Like maybe that's a little bit on Self, but also why are they not playing better? I guess my positive spin on all of this is that last year we were sitting here, not quite yet at this point, but like in January, we lose to UCF, and you're starting to feel like El Marco's not going to figure it out. You're praying Johnny Furphy figures it out. You're praying Nick Timberlake figures it out. But to me, this year, the guys we have that we're hoping can figure it out have already proven it at a high level at other programs. And so that's where I still have hope that we will figure it out much. It's way more likely this team ends up being really good come March than it was last year's team, I guess is my thought. So I'm not in full panic mode quite yet because I think we just got more guys. But my panic.
Can I answer? You asked why is it that AJ Store's a jump shooter? Is it have anything to do with the three of his teammates on the court?
That's fair. That's why I asked the question.
Right, but I mean that's just kind of in my mind. Like we need, and Cole asked this question. That's why I think I'd lean Griffin or Mayo because they're just more like sharp shooters, and I think we need a lot of shooting for this team to be successful. I think Store's the best player of the three at their peak, but like
I think it's
for this team's fit. Yeah,
which I don't think I would have said before the season, but I think Zeke has a better chance to go for 20, 25 any night, just his ability to shoot it. I know Ryland can shoot, but I don't really see the volume there for him or the ability to create shots like Zeke can. AJ, I mean, he's a good player, and maybe it is the spacing issues, but I don't see him being able to penetrate dribble drive by defenders. He just doesn't look explosive to me. Like,
yeah,
we've said it before, and like I said, it might be a spacing issue, but I watched him play plenty of times last year. Watched him against James Madison in the first round. Was out physical, overmatched. Like he did not look. So he's shown the ability to score, like you said, at the D1 level twice. But I feel like he's more of an ISO guy, where, like I said, give him the ball and get out of the way.
Well, that's like the thing is, I keep sitting here thinking, wow, what's the best lineup situation for Ryland Griffin? Well, it's probably a 4-guard lineup where he's one of the 4 guards. And then you think, what's the best lineup for AJ Store? It's probably a 4-guard lineup where he has more space to get downhill and go to the bucket. And so, like, to me, I don't know how to say, like, I'm not trying to be negative on KJ, but to me, it all falls to where KJ is. He is the most perfect energy guy to bring in and play 20, 25 minutes is the way I see it. But it's just not going to happen, I guess. And
what's going to make it change where those 3 aren't playing major minutes? Which I said earlier, like Juan and KJ, they can't play 35 minutes. I'm fine with Juan playing that many minutes. I know 2022, he didn't play 30 plus because Remy spelled him, but I loved him on that team because he had 3 NBA wings surrounding him. You had CB, Och, J Will, and then Dave had the paint to himself. You give Hunter the paint to himself. I mean, I know he's goofy and uncoordinated, but how are you stopping Hunter one-on-one? A majority of the time. I'm not saying he's going to finish every time, but you give a 7-2 guy the entire paint and they collapse and you find shooters, it's dangerous. But yeah, so I'm fine with Juan. And I hate how much we have to say this, but we don't hate KJ. It's just a scheme fit. Like, he cannot be out there for 35 minutes, dude. He cannot play every second against Mizzou in the second half the other night. And against Creighton, I don't know how you finished with 4 points when they're letting you roam around the floor. That's like him and Juan have had trouble finishing around the rim. I just don't get how you are shooting 8% from 1 feet this team the last week. Like, they can't make layups. Every layup is like in and out or just a straight brick.
Yeah, and that's but that's the thing. Like, that to me is also Zeke's missing layups, AJ Store's missing layups. So it's hard to just completely put all the blame on KJ and DeJuan and Hunter. Like, obviously, I think it's fair to do that because we saw this happen last year with this exact similar situation. So it's like, okay, what are the common denominators here? Why does our offense stink and look horrible? Well, it's probably that. But also at the same time, it's like, okay, well, sometimes Zeke and Store did get to the bucket and they missed the layups.
Can I say something? A way that layup percentages might go up
Layup
if there weren't 3 guys in the lane guarding them instead of 1 or 2. You know what I mean?
That's why
Like it just all comes down to the same thing for me. And like we were just saying, there's one common denominator. KJ is one of my favorite players of all time at KU. The fit is just impossible to make happen with who we have on this roster.
So I mean, just thinking about lineups, I think you got to.
No, we don't, John.
I think you got to have Juan, Zeke, one of Rylan and AJ, if not both, or one of them and Diggy. Like you gotta have. I think Diggy deserves more playing time, in my opinion. Like the issue has been honestly 3-point percentage, but 3-point makes too the last 2 years. And Diggy's not afraid to get him up. You got a 7-2 guy that can rebound. Maybe you guys don't agree, but I feel like Diggy should play a little more, and he gave them a spark yesterday. We made 4 more threes. We made 4 more threes, more field goals, out rebounded them by 11. And yeah, we made it close at one point, but they were pumping us for a while. That doesn't make sense.
I would like to see. I'm genuinely asking, what has it looked like when Diggy is on the floor without DeJuan? I'm sure it's not good because DeJuan does do a ton defensively, and just like as a non-ball knower, I know that DeJuan is doing things that I just don't quite see. So like, but I am curious, like, what if DeJuan was playing 32 minutes instead of 38? And what if Diggy's getting some extra minutes with Zeke and Store? And I don't know, like I feel like we have so many guys that we feel have potential, but instead we're just trying to force them into these pieces where they can't excel because of the spacing issue. And it's like, I said this yesterday in the group chat with like Vernon and those guys, like in a weird way, I would love if like KJ had to sit out two games because of like an academic issue. I don't know. He's too good of a guy. That's the problem. KJ is too good of a guy. But like, I would love to just see this team, how they look for a few games.
It's not hard to guard.
I just don't.
It's not a difficult game plan.
No, I mean, Creighton was just like, here, DeJuan.
The entire year
win the game. Okay, but
there's one other thing. Are we staying on this game? Basketball still?
Cool. Yeah, but I had a bigger question about this team. Like, I saw someone bring up Remy and how he sat in the doghouse, and we did this exact thing. Why are we like surprised by this? But is there anything about the way Self's treating AJ Store? Like, are we sure that Store and Griffin, like, we won't see this team come March where KJ is playing less minutes because Self has gotten through to AJ Store and Rylan Griffin, and all of a sudden KJ isn't playing as many minutes because he believes in those guys. Like, I still think there's because that's what we saw with DeJuan. DeJuan's minutes did go down once we got to the tournament. I don't know. It's
that's
just
got to
hard
be the hope.
It's the only hope.
At this point, we need multiple of those guys to step up and figure it out. Because I don't know. Because it'd be cool. Because I don't know. I can see Zeke being the Remy of this team in a way. Just come in, spell DeJuan, play 20 minutes, hit a few big shots, create your own shot at the end. Like, you feel like that style of player at least. He showed it early in the year, but
there's guys that still haven't played a ton, but I'm still gonna have the worry of who's our go-to guy down the stretch, late in games. Whenever we do get to that point in Big 12 play, I know you can feed Hunter and let him back guys down. I know Zeke's done it before. He made huge plays against UNC, but I mean, I guess how can you have confidence in Store or Griffin down the stretch with the ball in their hands? And also, I mean, Store just threw up some insane bricks yesterday. KJ's floater from the fucking baseline.
I was irate.
How many layups did we miss when Mizzou couldn't score for 15 fucking minutes?
That was the thing. Everyone was like, we were like, oh, we came back. What a great comeback. That was not a gutty comeback. Mizzou was horrible.
Back-to-back shot clock violations,
They
dude.
begged us to win that game.
When that
Other
big
than
dude,
Mark Mitchell and that big dude.
when he hit the three, and then when he made the free throw that stuck in the back of the rim and went in, I lost it. Dude, he's 42% free throw shooter in his career. He was getting the dope treatment from the crowd when he made it. Like
I'll never get over that three.
And he had taken, well, the three, it wasn't a three, but he was trying to attempt a three. He had attempted 5 in his entire 5-year career. Just steps up confidently like Dave against Kentucky and Lexington and just fucking drains it. And then goes 3 for 4 from the free throw line. You've got to be shitting me.
Do you think Dave McCormick?
And Mark Mitchell, 45% three-point shooter. I don't care if he's open. There's a reason. He shoots
Poor
David
David
room.
McCormick. McCormick makes one of the biggest shots in Kansas basketball history, and all we talk about is a line drive missile he fired off the backboard against Kentucky as our freshman. Like
that, and you cutting your foot off for him not being a top 100 player as a sophomore or junior. Those are the two storylines with them.
Nobody put their ass on the line more than I did for David McCormick.
Supposedly, Big Davey is going in the rafters someday, which
Should
isn't
be.
really a shock, but there's the requirements, obviously. But
Bill can get through those.
yeah, supposedly.
There's one more thing
that was gonna Dave go up. I mean, you've won 3 natties in school history, and he should have been MOP. I know.
I struggle
MOP,
with it.
you go up there.
Yeah, but he didn't.
I know
win
he
it.
wasn't, but I mean, dude, 3 natties in school history, and he won.
Yeah, but we're putting Ochai up there, and
I'm saying if you win a natty, like 4, Jesus, fuck. I forgot about 2022. We have 4.
that's the one you're talking.
That's
We
the
have
one we're
6.
talking about, Cheeseman.
Okay, 4 in school history.
Yeah.
If you win a natty and you help them win it, you probably should go up there.
Yep.
Yeah, Remy could too, but
No.
we know who the MOP was in New Orleans.
I know. I just I don't know.
We have 4.
I don't want to be a cornball that gets too obsessed with rafter talk, but
Well, I just
David McCormick was a disaster for about 3.5 years.
Is Cole Aldridge a Rafters guy?
Well, he is in there because of wasn't he
know.
like an academic All-American? But also
Yeah.
he was a second team All-American, or maybe a first team All-American.
Yeah, I forget about.
You guys see Sharon
Yeah.
Collins was on the Daily Dozen trivia the other day?
Who's that?
Only 4% of people got it right.
As a trivia question? Oh yeah, you sent me this.
What was
Just
it?
I'll read the question. Let me see if you can get the answer.
Oh God, Ryan, do you know it already?
Well, yeah. Let's see.
How many guys? Well, I just feel like he won us the goddamn natty.
Joe Yesufu, Rafters.
No one can forget the shot against Arkansas.
I can because we lost the game. It sucks. That's one of those shots that should have been remembered forever.
Oh no, we didn't want to see UConn.
That's true.
We would have been so confident too. I gotta watch our Selection Sunday preview. We guessed every team. That was
was a nightmare. What is that guy's name? I haven't tweeted about him this year.
The dickweed.
That NCAA
Fucking
selection
quad 3
committee.
wins. Competitive
What was his
quad
name?
3 losses.
Mark
gonna comment in
Reynolds.
here.
Something Reynolds.
First baseman for the
Competitive.
Diamondbacks 20 years ago.
Gary Reynolds. Cole, come on. What was this guy's name?
Competitive
Clark.
quad 3 losses.
Yeah.
Get
They're
him out of
quad.
here.
They're quad
Chris
3
Reynolds.
losses. Chris Reynolds. God, I could do a whole pod on Chris Reynolds for the next
Fuck him.
hour.
That was
You guys want to?
NCAA punishment. Not only the region, but the location and the region.
I mean, think about that. The selection committee,
God. You
the
We're
selection
fools.
committee blasted our podcast up on the TV, and they said, "Folks, who do these guys not want?" They went one by one, our list of teams we didn't want to touch, and Chris Reynolds was like,
Well, we definitely don't want Arkansas in the 8-9. They have a lot of NBA talent.
yep, too long. We didn't have a center on the roster.
We
That was
cannot
so-
have UConn as our 4 seed. We think they could win it all.
Oh my God. Okay, where were we?
Well, Chase Brown.
So I guess, okay, to go back to the original question of this episode, are we truly panicking? Do you think I have something with my point of like AJ Storr, Zeke Mayo, and Rylan Griffin is different than Nick Timberlake, El Marco Jackson, and Johnny Furphy? Now, Johnny Furphy ended up being really good, but he still kind of struggled late in the year. So, like, I just feel like we still got the odds of these guys figuring it out are a lot higher than they were last year.
I'll answer that, but I'm so mad about how much they emphasize getting wings in the offseason. They got the 2 wings they wanted. And now what? You pay them and then you're just not going to play them because they're not doing things you want at practice or what? But like Juan was actively recruiting wings to come here. They talked about how we needed wings, talked about how DeJuan needs to be surrounded by NBA wings. You get them, you drop bags. Now they don't play. And they don't play in crunch time, and they don't get the ball in crunch
But also,
time. And if they fuck up,
if I were Bill Self, what I would be saying to you right now, B-Turn, is I'd be like,
they don't guard nobody.
Has AJ Storr played good? Has Rylan Griffin played good? Now, the thing that's weird about Griffin is like he played late. He won us that game against Duke kind of late.
None of them play good when they come here. So maybe it's a staff issue. Maybe they don't evaluate talent correctly.
I'll say this. Rylan Griffin, I think, just kind of made a weird decision leaving a system like Alabama to come play at Kansas. But I hope it works out. But like to me, he just thrives so much in another system. AJ Storr could be really good in Bill Self's system. You just gotta piss him off enough, I think. And I think we're getting there. It could either, what's Bill always say? He literally like told Russell Robinson, like, you're not good enough to be here. Russell Robinson tried to fight him at practice one time, but Russell Robinson kept just wanting to prove him wrong.
What would he say to J.R. Giddens?
I don't know.
Go to the outhouse.
Something about just future recruits coming in that are going to play over him and stuff.
Yeah.
And they would just
then you have the guys like J.R. Giddens that leave.
Speaking of Bama, I'm going to enjoy my time with Billy Self, the best coach in KU history, but I cannot wait for Nathaniel Oates to be our coach someday. Don't shake your head.
He's going to be at UNC in 24 months.
He already had a chance.
Not really. They hired Hubert right away.
No, they could have hired Oates. They called him. They
Roy Williams.
Called him and Wes Miller.
You were fired up about them hiring him.
I can't believe
you got to do a coaching search.
Kyle Neptune still has a job.
Hey, you won a big game the other day, Ryan. He's back.
Against who? Penn?
No, it was a ranked team. I can't remember who it was. I'll pull it up. Give me a second. They're 6-4. They beat Cincinnati on Tuesday.
6-4? They're 6-4?
Yes, he's so bad.
Columbia, St. Joe, Virginia, and Maryland.
That's why
his record, B-Turn, his record at Villanova is 41-36. And these folks want to be considered a blue blood.
That's why every coach has flaws. Bill has his, but you got to enjoy. I know some of our fans are just really down on him right now, which is crazy. But, I mean, your next coach could take over and do that pretty quickly, easily.
Oh, yeah. If you're mad, like, there's a difference between, like, being – like, sometimes when you're just enjoying a season –
Look at the last comment.
I know. I was ignoring it. Sometimes when you're enjoying a season, like, it's just – Bill Self's antics can get annoying because he is such a long game guy. He's like, I'm going to do it my way. He pays attention to the little details. He's not going to let you get lazy. But it most of the time works out. And that's what I'm going to convince myself of. But this is just a really strange predicament we are in to have to, like, it would be like if Russell Robinson and Jamari Traylor played 3 straight years together as like major vocal points of a team.
Someone texted me. That's funny. Someone texted me last night and said, KJ is Jamari Traylor, but playing 40 minutes.
Yeah. And I think Kyle Coffey said that in the chat too, but Like, and that's the thing that's frustrating is we all love Jamari because he was an energy guy. And we all love Russell Robinson because he's just the guy that does all the things DeJuan does, but he wasn't playing 38 minutes a game. In fact, he wasn't on the floor late in the
I
national
don't
title
get it,
game.
man. It's like Bill wants to play through the big, and you have a 4-man in there that's just standing there on offense. Like, yeah, maybe it worked back in like I was trying to think of teams before this where we played 2 bigs, but the game has just changed so much. Like it's changed, like I was thinking about Withy and T-Rob.
This is kind of where I'm at, by the way.
I mean, it is like that is the
and
problem.
This is why AB I could never get on board with your argument last year, which I know your argument was not.
Here we go again.
Oh my God, AB's gonna go crazy before I finish my sentence. I know your argument is not that you wished KJ would be back over Hunter, but like I still, to me, my point to you always was, what lineup would work with DeJuan and KJ together? Like if Hunter can't work.
Yeah, no, you're right. And I think, because I went back and listened to that episode, parts of that episode like yesterday after the game, just to see what we were saying. And I don't think I did a great job of explaining. My real point was, Hunter, like I may have even said it, Hunter was not the problem. He's the only one that's had a chance of going. Like, DeJuan and KJ were never going to go anywhere. And if anyone ever believed that for a second, like that was just never going to happen. So like my argument with Hunter leaving was simply to change the style of play of the team because we knew those guys were coming back and Hunter was the only one kind of up in the air. So I think that's where I kind of didn't explain it the best.
But you're right. I just still struggled.
But there is no good answer though. There's no good answer.
And so
it's just,
KJ would just have to play the 5.
Yeah, and I think that's what AB got.
The year we lost to Arkansas.
Yeah, that's what I got.
Which is maybe.
But that team was the number 1 overall seed before the Big 12 championship game. So it's like
it was Kevin, Grady, and J. Will, with those 2 we were talking about, KJ and Juan. He'd have to play the 5. They can't play together. At least not for fucking 40 minutes.
Can I make one comment on the game yesterday really quick? The thing that pissed me off the most is you're coming off a loss. It's Bill Self coaching against Missouri. And we just fucking act like we've never played the sport of basketball before. That first half.
We start 4 seniors.
Yeah. 4 seniors. There's so much experience on this team in big-time college basketball. And we go to, and I know it's a tough environment to play. I know they hate you. You guys have been playing in those environments your entire career here.
It should be
every game that KU goes to play on the road, whether it's K-State, whether it's Baylor, whether it's UCF last year was a little goofy. West Virginia's always like, wherever we go on the road, it's tough. So let's not act like it's the first time we play on the road. 3-10 on the road with Dickinson on the roster is outrageous.
That's
losing
what I was
8 of
say.
9, like it's just, it's a problem. It's a problem. And
so
unfortunately, I can tell you what's going to happen this year is we're going to look fucking awesome against top 5 teams like we do every year. And we're going to talk ourselves into being a national championship contending team because we can beat the best teams in the country when we play well, and we always play well at home. But you know what's going to happen? We don't get to win championships at home. We have to go places to play and win, and that's where this team sucks, and that's where they've sucked the last 2 seasons, and it's probably going to come up short. That's where I'm at right now.
I just don't know what it's going to take for him not to play 30-plus minutes. Like, even if one of those, I know, but even if they do,
but I think that's
start
where
playing
I'm saying,
better. Like, what's his role going to be? Bill loves him too much.
He moved DeJuan to the bench a little bit in the tournament when Remy started to figure it out. So like that's why when it comes down to winning, Bill Self doesn't like all that dude cares about is winning. So I am convinced if he believes that AJ Storr and Rylan Griffin have figured it out and he trusts them and he believes in them, they're going to get the minutes that we want them to get, and they're going to take the minutes from KJ. Like,
oh my God.
I have to have that trust, because if I don't have that trust in Bill Self, then like, why even watch? Because AB is 100% right. Like, this ain't going to work, and we will win at home and we will look good at home. But if this is the 5 we roll out for 40 minutes a game, we are not winning neutral floor games. So, I'll say this about Hunter. I've been a big Hunter defender. I never I love having a guy that I think can go out and get 20 and 15, 20 and 10 every single night. But at a certain point, if you're going to be a villain, you got to win a road game. You got to go into a road crowd and you got to take the game over and win. And that's just why it's like, I don't know if he's a real villain because villains win these games.
He was like laughing and smiling the whole game yesterday. I don't know if you guys noticed that, but it was just really weird because we were getting pumped and like something would happen, something bad would happen. He's just smiling, laughing. Like, what is going on? This team, I mean, they looked like absolute dog shit for 4 halves this week. Like, couldn't get anything going.
Can you guys name the 3 road wins that Hunter Dickinson has at Kansas?
That's what I was trying to.
At Indiana.
Oklahoma State?
Yep.
At Oklahoma State, which, by the way, that's terrifying because those 2 were within the last 13 months. So you take since that Oklahoma State game, we are 1-10?
9. We've lost 8 of 9.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've lost since that Oklahoma State game. We lost at West Spa. God, that was a bad loss last year. At Iowa State, at K-State, at Tech. We beat Oklahoma by 10 on the road. That's good. At Baylor, at Houston, and then the 2 this year.
That's what, like, Cole's last comment, can a center take over a game? That's what I'm saying. Like, the game has changed. People just fire threes, and we're a team that we're lucky to make 8 threes in a game. I don't even know what the numbers are, but that's why I don't get the style of basketball they still try to play. I know it worked like in 2022. They still went to Dave down the stretch, but like, are you going to force feed Hunter Dickinson in the tournament? Like, I guess if he gets the matchup and we find shooters and you just feed him in the post and he finds guys, but do you win through bigs? I guess maybe in college it's different.
And I do think, I think you can like let Hunter Dickinson. I don't know if it's necessarily force feeding him like we used to in the old Bill Self ways, but like you can still trust him to go score 20 and 10 and honestly do it pretty effortlessly. And I guess that's kind of what so if I were Hunter listening to this, I'd say, hey, Dix, I did go score 19 and 13 yesterday or whatever. Like, so
yeah.
Oh, I thought you were calling him Dix, like that was a nickname for him or something.
No, like we're sitting here being like, I wish this guy
that.
would take over. And it's like his stats looked good, but like you cannot tell me that guy was like a force yesterday.
Yeah, and you can't even force feed him is the shitty thing with who we play so much. You can't.
And 2010 is 20 and 10 is 20 and 10, but
how did he do that?
Doesn't it always feel that it's just the quietest 20 and 10 when he does it? Quietest, least impactful, like nothing against him. I think he's the best player on the team, obviously, but it's to go back to the point Braden made earlier, are we trusting Hunter Dickinson with 45 seconds left down by 1 in a tournament game?
Who's getting
how about him picking the ball at the top of the key and sprinting downhill like he was?
I listened to the first half on radio. Oh my god.
John Doe's in the house.
Haney was furious.
What happened?
Couldn't believe the turnovers. Couldn't believe it.
I mean,
it was crazy.
We scored like 20 points in the first half.
Yep.
Okay.
KU football or no? JD's back.
We got at least on it.
Yeah, for sure. JD's back. Coach Z.
Love that.
I like it.
I'm good with that.
I am too. It should have been the call from the freaking jump.
Yeah, that's what pisses me off the most. Is what happens if Borland retires a year earlier and they just hire Z instead of going from the outside? Then it's just like this year to me might be completely different. I have more thoughts on Grimes though that I want to get to when you guys are finished up talking about Z. What?
Go ahead. Let's talk.
Okay. Grimes. Well, am I allowed to say that Grimes kind of got a fair shake from the fan or an unfair shake from the fans? Like, yeah, the first 3 games were an utter disaster. We averaged 30 points a game in conference play. Let's not act like that didn't happen. He got a job at a better school to go do the same job. Like, I get we were pissed at him early in the year, but like the fact that people are still like, oh, let's get Grimes out. I can't wait till we get him out. Kind of felt like he figured it out a little bit as the season went on after his first 3 games at the school. The first time Lance has had a different staff in his fucking history. Like, it just, I don't know. It seemed a little odd to me that Grimes was even into Big 12 season when we're losing games 35-31. He was still taking a lot of the heat for it. It just didn't ever really quite made sense to me.
I
Yeah.
think yes.
Go ahead, Rye. Sorry.
Well, I think you're right. He 100% got a rough shake, but also like you came in the biggest season of all time, and he was bad at the beginning of the year, but
Yep,
Jalen
undoubtedly.
was really bad at the beginning
Yep.
of the year. And then part of me is like, oh, but yeah, he did figure it out, but he also just started giving the ball to his best player a little more, I think. I don't know. So it's like, is
Yeah,
that
But
should he get
Jalen looked
credit?
sick too, though. Jalen
Yeah,
started look
yeah.
sick.
But
I mean, Jalen was rusty. Like they had him this off season. They just handled it wrong, and he was in bubble wrap all off season. They didn't ramp him up quick enough, and it showed beginning of the year. So yeah, he deserves. I mean, JD deserves a little criticism, especially how much he's making. But he was better throughout the year, and it. Yeah, exactly. Late in games was the issue. It felt
I
like
agree.
your OC lost you games, not just
And
one
it's like-
game. It was absolutely Illinois, West Virginia. Our defense sucked late, but all you had to do was get a first down. He ran it to the short side 3 times. Which we wanted him to give it to Neal, but I didn't. The play calling was not creative. UNLV, you could make a case. I know fluky things happened in that game.
Yeah.
TCU,
but even K-State,
K-State, you're good.
Big.
For a long
That's the thing. The K-State game drives me crazy because we had 4 drives to basically seal that game. We didn't get past midfield.
So it feels
Right,
like
but Grimes didn't
like,
fumble. Grimes wasn't the one that failed to fall on the ball against UNLV.
Yeah.
Grimes wasn't the one that threw a pick 6 at the end of the first half against Illinois. Grimes was, you know what I mean? Like,
we did
yes,
see good
I
things
agree
against
that
K-State.
a lot of his play calls, especially in the K-State game, were just bad. You need 1 or 2 first downs. But at the end of the day, like, I could probably name an example in every single game where the players let them down just as bad. I'm not trying, like, I
No, I
wanted
get
him
it.
to jump last year, so I'm not like I'm not upset that Grimes is gone. I just also kind of feel like him being the number 1 target for why we went 5-7 this year felt a little misguided because he was the new guy in town and he started poorly.
A lot of it is, like Rice said, expectations going into the year. Like
Yep,
if you were pegged to be a fringe bowl team, it's different. But when you have legit Big 12 title aspirations, which we fucking spanked Iowa State, scored like 50 points, and then we just scored too quickly against Arizona State. So the 2 teams that play in that game, we were as good, if not better. So that is obviously one thing. Yeah, Grimes was good to end the year, but I still like Iowa State and the Colorado games were kind of outliers where you just go off.
Maybe
Like,
we scored 27.
BYU
We scored 27 or more in every game except BYU and.
But I also like let's not forget Jeff Grimes
Baylor,
had a stacked offense. Like
yes,
that's
correct.
why I think Coach Z would have 100% looked just as good. And this is my thing.
Remember how
about Grimes.
sick we looked in the bowl game?
Yes,
Oh.
And you're right. You're right, AB. Like Grimes 100% got myself included. But to me, it just made sense for him to move on. This is the best absolute case scenario because Lance doesn't have to fire him. It probably would have been a premature fire, but vibes were just off. We as a fan base were never going to forgive Jeff Grimes for how last year went. Now it's Coach Z, and I do not think we're going to be sitting here next year being like, damn, where did Jeff – we will never even think about Jeff Grimes ever again. And so this is just like take it. Whose fault was it more of? I don't know, but all I know is that we are better off giving this to a guy that was part of the rebuild, Coach Z, that was there, and let's just see what happens. I don't know if he's the right answer.
But that's just why I have questions why we didn't do it last year.
You can't have 3 different OCs in 3 straight years with JD too. So going in-house makes sense. QB coach, he's with them all the time. D coordinator, I don't know why I don't know why they moved so quickly on it, I guess. Maybe it's like for recruiting but there was like I have no idea what's going on. But
I have no clue about this.
Peterson, Bry is not. I mean, Bry's been wrong before, but Bry's also pretty plugged in. I mean, he made it seem like Iowa State just let go of DK McDonald.
He was right about Will Howard.
We got to talk about that one. We have to. I mean, come on, guys.
This is a really
I can play quarterback and have better than a -2 ER.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I don't know enough about DK McDonald to give a strongly, like, I don't have an opinion on it. I think it's weird to have that bad of a defense and hire internally, but I would have said that about any internal hire. And the thing that was tough was just us. We're talking about Jordan Peterson, the guy that we all desperately want back, to hear him being talked about. And then, like, minutes later, you just give the job to DK McDonald. Like, that was the only thing that was kind of a brutal.
So
why don't they?
I thought about it after the DK thing was official. Did it ever make sense for Peterson to come back? Wasn't the whole reason why he left was because he was from there and like he moved his family down there? His wife went to school there or something. Like it was
Well,
like
he
it was
became the
a career move, but it was also made sense for the family life and everything. So I don't know if him coming back to Lawrence 1 year later would have made the most sense personally. But when I
he'd
saw
be
his
the
name, that's
DC.
absolutely who I wanted. Oh, for sure, it would have been an upgrade.
So he
But
wasn't.
I just kind of thought like, obviously career wise, it would have made sense for him. But I
Well, if the
think
money was
what we
right.
right, but I think we forget about a lot of the times that there's way more factors outside of just the football stuff that go into these. I mean, he just uprooted his entire family to move 12 hours south so you can come right. I mean, people do it, but I can see why people, if that's the reason why they wouldn't. And I don't know that it is. It just came to my mind when it's like, yeah, no shit, he didn't come back.
Yeah. I don't even know how I've been kind of out of the loop on that. I don't know how much we talked to Peterson. Like, was it actually a real conversation? I know there were rumblings all
He
weekend.
said it had been going on before that, and someone said that him and his family missed Lawrence, which could be false. I mean, I'm sure College Station's great, and they have crazy fans, and the experience and tradition is better. But I don't know if that's true or not.
Would DJ Warner? I saw a couple people saying this in B-turn. That's your boy. Would he have stayed if Peterson got the job? You think?
I think 100%, and that is, I think, really the reason he's gone. And we almost lost him when Peterson left for A&M. Like Leipold flew down to Goodyear and had to talk to DJ. Like, dude, I talked to one of their coaches, and they've been coaching high school football for 10 years. Said Jordan Peterson is the best recruiter I've ever seen in my life. Like, he is the best recruiter I've ever witnessed in the entire country. And
that's why
all four guys he's gone after at Desert Edge. He got John, Andre Gibson. He got Jamar Beal Goings to go to Texas A&M from there, and DJ 4 for 4. So there's zero chance in the entire world DJ ever would have even thought of Kansas or came to Kansas without JP. So once he left, he stayed. But yeah, I think if Peterson became the DC, he'd be back, which, I mean,
I'm just like convinced based on that like, I think I kind of agree with AB that like Peterson had to have maybe said no, or at least been like, I don't know, because if that's all true and the way we all loved him and how big of a miss it was to lose him, to just say, we'll go DK McDonald without having Peterson tell you no. I like to believe that Peterson told Lance no, and that Lance did not just not even.
Yeah, I think a frustrating thing for me is that we waited to announce that Borland was leaving until the Saturday, 2 days before the transfer portal opens, Saturday or Sunday. I mean, it's just like, do that right when the season ends. He almost did it last year, apparently. Why? Like, what does he need to think about? Like, have your mind made up at the end of the season so we can progress. It's just like, because you can't hire coaches once the portal's already opened up. I mean, you can, but like, you want all that to be done.
I have to say that, but I've seen multiple people say like DJ didn't do anything this year. Like, what are you talking about? He's a fucking true freshman playing Power 5 football. How many true freshmen even played at KU this year? Like, for him to even get snaps. None of the other freshmen that we're excited about, pumped about, got snaps. Zeke didn't play against Lindenwood. We're excited about him. Like, DJ was the last freshman on campus. He came here late, and he has not filled out yet. I don't know. I'm just kind of confused on what we were expecting from him. Like a 10-sack season from a undersized freshman.
That's why, like, I never get excited about football recruiting because I always assume we're like 3 years away from these guys even being a factor most of the time.
Yeah.
So, like, it was cool to see that guy getting minutes right out of the gates. And, like, being decent.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty upset he's gone. Like, obviously he was the biggest recruit in that class, but it felt like he was the one most likely to stay. As crazy as that sounds, like just his love for KU. John's here, his best friend Andre Gibson is his cousin. They're both staying, supposedly. And he could have, if it's a money thing, he could have went. I mean, Michigan and Ohio State were pushing hard to sign him weeks before signing day. So if it was for money, wouldn't you think he'd go to one of those schools out of high school? Like, I don't think our NIL situation is obviously not close to those big dogs, and it's not as good as it could be. So I guess I don't get it, because if he came here in the playing time and he wasn't playing as a freshman, maybe, but they gave him chances and he played. So I'm confused. But
I don't know. This era is going to be full of us just not understanding why guys leave. That's just the new world we're in. But like losing a coordinator, which I don't think he probably loved Borland, but still, it's just changed. But my thing that I think was brutal about this McDonald hired, and it is not, like I said, I don't know enough to judge this guy as a coach. But to me, I'm a vibes guy. This is dumb brain analysis time, AB.
My favorite.
Think about this pod. I think we were all pretty excited Grimes left. We were all pretty excited about just hiring Coach Z. Like, we all felt like he deserved that. Imagine if Jordan Peterson gets announced that same day. Jalen's back. Jordan Peterson's back. Coach, you've hired it within, and you've got that offense, the guy that was there with Kotelnicki. Like, I feel like vibes and momentum would have been so strong heading into a season that shouldn't have any momentum, because we just had the most disappointing season ever. And like, I don't know. I just feel like we were so close
last year when we got 0-12. Oh God.
No, 5-7. I will say this forever. 5-7 was 10 times worse than 0-12. 10 times worse. But I just felt like we were so close. And here's my thing. I want you guys to hold me to this next year. I will not publicly call for any coordinators to be fired on Twitter. But if the coordinators stink, it's time to be on Lance. Like, it is, to me,
I'm glad he wasn't stubborn. I mean, I guess he didn't really. Sounds like they both kind of made their own decisions. With Grimes going to Wisconsin, Borland retiring.
But I got to think Borland did not make his own decision, because, like AB said, it would have happened much quicker.
But yeah, you guys actually, I mean, it does make sense with Peterson that he maybe just said no, because he's not, like, McDonald doesn't have much more credentials than he does. Like, he was coaching, he was in the NFL. Like,
if it comes out that Jordan Peterson wasn't like hardcore approach for this job and we just immediately went with McDonald, like, I will be irate.
I'm so mad at KU football, dude.
And that's all I got to say about that. But hey, I still think, all that to say, I think Jalen being back is huge.
Yes.
I think it's also, as long as we keep Isaiah Marshall, which I think we will, like, I think it's huge for him too. Get one more year, be the true backup, and then you're ready to cook his true sophomore year or whatever. So I still think momentum's there. This Iowa running back seems kind of fun. So I don't know. I'm worried about receivers.
Yep.
Worried about that our stadium's not fully built.
Yeah, we lose a lot of production on offense too. I'm pretty pumped JD's back. You obviously want him over a guy that hasn't really taken snaps, but we need to get some guys in quick, build that rapport. You lose, I don't know what's going. I mean, it sounded like Shaw was leaving. Maybe he can come back now since Sevi left. I have no idea, but you lose Neal, maybe Shaw, Sevi, Grimm, Arnold, Skinner. So, yeah, we need receivers. And then Logan Brown declared for the draft, which I really was hoping he came back. And I hope Bryce Foster comes back. Yeah.
Is this official yet? I've seen him, like, change his social media, but has that actually been announced?
No.
So it's like, are we sure the coaching staff's down for this? Or is he just trying to like force his way back?
I mean, it sounds like he's back.
So I wonder why. But he's been like all in on KU for like the last few months, right? Even while Auburn's season was still going on.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Don't leave Kansas. You'll miss it.
Oh man.
I have to mention something I thought of earlier when we were just starting the pod, and we had a little guy named Les Miles take over the program. This was made him before the pod started, and I remember certain someone floated the idea in my head that this was a possibility and got me excited. That when we hired what's his name? Who was our OC for the off season? He took the Troy job. Chip
Lindsey.
Chip Lindsey. We hired Chip Lindsey from Auburn, and Mr. Turner down here got in my head that we might have a chance at stealing Bo Nix from Auburn. And
that's so me. When his dad played at Auburn,
because Chip Lindsey recruited him. There was like 7 lines of family
instead,
lineage
Bo
that played
Nix-
quarterback at Auburn, and now
you could tell that to anyone, and they would believe that I said that. That's how delusional.
My favorite part about it is that if B-Turn was a Troy fan, he would have been saying the same thing. He'd have been like, Nix likes this Chip Lindsey guy's offense. It's where he's comfortable.
That's exactly what I said. Dude, he did kind of stink in college before.
Oh, he's bad at Auburn.
Good God,
he's bad.
Dude, he would have been Peyton Bender. That is who he would have been.
What's his nut? Joe Buck was just glazing him last Monday against the Browns. I mean, just double twisty, just acting like he's top 5 quarterback in the league already, which he does look good, but good Lord. He would have been great at Kansas. All of our QBs, former 5 stars were. You got Chris, you got Jake Heaps. I mean,
who were the guys? Remember when Beatty was just getting ridiculous guys to commit, and then they would decommit? But
dude,
Jamar Chase,
Jamar Chase committed.
Yes,
and I think it was Derrick Henry was down to us in Alabama, wasn't he?
That has to be a fib.
No, there was.
Najee.
Maybe it wasn't. It was Najee. It was
Najee.
It was
yeah.
Najee.
He got all those commits. Keon Coleman was committed.
The Jamar one's so funny.
Jamar Chase.
I think
animals, baby. Or no.
I can't stand Jamar now, but I'll take credit him being a Jayhawk the rest of my life.
Pookie. I said Pookie. Puka's the best player in KU history.
All right, Hawk Tua. Gonna go
I mean,
lose everyone 95% of the money.
Can you imagine Puka under Kotelnicki? Him and Herbert?
Puka is one of those guys that just like
he was so good.
Will always be such a what if, like, I don't know, just wrong era. Played in the wrong era.
Look at the last comment. What did Beatty have? Who was our receiver from Bama? Dalen Charlotte.
Yes. Who was that wide receiver? He was like our highest recruit ever. He's a 4-star. He didn't end up being good. He committed to us. Then he left, or then he decommitted, maybe to go to like LSU. Who was that?
LaQuiviante?
No, God, LaQuiviante. How about that guy catching punts?
Wait, he went where?
Who was this guy? I'm so far away from knowing it, but he was a 4-star, I want to say wide receiver, and he committed to us. And he said, it's not Dalen Charlotte.
Okay.
It's not. He did not end up being good. I want to say he like ended up going JUCO. Because
Trayvon Lynch had a Gardner.
I know who you're talking about.
I think he became nothing, so like it wasn't a big miss. But I remember just being
would have been
gutted.
Kansas.
And I don't think it was Justin McKay. Wasn't Justin McKay an Oklahoma transfer? Yeah. No, this was like a guy that I feel like was committed.
Here's a guy.
Was he committed to LSU or did he end up going to LSU? I don't know.
Justin Jefferson, Dwayne Bowe.
My guy.
Chase Harrell. These are hilarious names to see popping up all over the place, but not him.
God. Who was the other honky we had playing receiver? Oh, he was like a track star.
Tyler.
Yeah.
Alan loved him. Alan was like, "This is." Alan's like,
He's going
"He's
for
the next-"
100 today.
Yeah. What was his name? He got hurt in Austin. Is like one of the late in the year.
Oh, he'll know. Just text him.
Tyler.
I know who you're talking about.
Who is this
it
receiver
Cole,
you're
what is his
talking
name?
about?
He was number 4. He was good. He was a wide receiver.
Of course
White
he was
kid.
good. He's the only. We had no one else.
No, not Laquiviante
Yeah, I
Gonzalez.
said-
That is
What year was this around the LSU thing?
Tyler Patrick, right? He was the
Yeah.
wide receiver I was talking to. Highest recruit.
What?
I hate that David Beatty, highest recruit of all time. I swear there's an article that's going to
Dude, who was that receiver that played with Carter? That I
Tony
can't
Pearson?
think of.
I'm just
Who
looking
was
through
it?
these.
Who the fuck was the receiver that really good receiver that played with Carter? Stanley. Not Stephon Robinson. Parchment. Dude, he was good. Andrew Parchment.
Yeah.
He ended up going to Florida State. Devontae Jason is who it is.
Yes, that is who it is. This guy wins, Devontae Jason. I remember us being like, we can't lose him. And he was like, I'm good. I'm not leaving. I will not decommit. And then bam, gone.
Who was the guy that made the catch on the TCU in the TCU game?
I was just about to bring him up, and then he went pro. He's like, oh, I'm going to ride this wave. God, how am I
Which
forgetting
year?
all these players?
It was the year we
ball,
almost
like,
beat
bats up.
TCU. He tapped it along the sidelines. We
that
almost beat
Carter?
him. No, Trayvon
No,
Boykin
this-
started for TCU, right?
This would have been
TCU was like 2 or 3 in the nation, and they came to Lawrence. We were awful.
Devontae Jason.
It was our sophomore year, I think, grade.
Recruiting.
What is this? What
Our
is this
so-
guy's?
like- Our sophomore year?
Yeah,
Where was the game at?
it wasn't
Lawrence,
Nigel King. Yes.
Yeah.
Nobody.
34-30
Like-
I don't remember
TCU.
that.
Dude,
Parchment,
yes, you
yeah.
do. Nigel King on the sidelines makes an
Come on,
absurd
Turner.
catch. The ball
I'm
bats
sure
up
I
in the air and
remember it,
catches
but I don't
it.
remember even that guy's name.
And then later that day, somebody in his family was like, "You're going pro, big dog. You are leaving this
Yeah.
program." And he was like, never to be heard of again.
Dude, we fake punt run on 4th and 39 with
That was
Trevor
Charlie
Pardue.
Weiss. That was Charlie
Dude,
Weiss,
it was 4th
right?
and 67. And we fucking fake punt run,
And
not pass.
in our own end zone, right?
Dude, are you kidding? And this year was worse. And I don't disagree.
I
with you,
know. That's what's
'cause we had
bad.
expectations. We could just laugh back then. Oh, we
I
lost by
know.
40. Dane
Dude,
Chris
Charlie
is a
Weiss.
first rounder if he doesn't go to KU.
Remember that one time Fox put KU TCU on main Fox in Game 7 of the ALCS on FS1, and we lost like 60-0. They had a running clock the
They
whole
did a
fourth quarter.
running clock like we were middle school football.
No.
Oh man. Wow, that was a blast actually. Just going
Mhm.
through all the recruits that we used to text and be like, "Guys, this is the guy that's going to change the program."
Dude, no. we
Like
did not
to
say
think
that.
about Devontae Jason, us thinking that guy was going to turn this program around. Were Louisianimals, was that
That
David
was-
Beatty and Tony Hole's thing, or was that
Yeah.
Les Miles? But Tony Hole
No,
stayed
it was
when,
Beatty and Hull.
It was whole.
but then Hole stayed with Miles, right?
Dude, that's a touchdown.
Because I remember Puka's family was like, Tony Hole needs to be head coach. That's the guy that needs to be like. I was like, this guy can recruit, but I don't know if I want him to be the head coach, folks. But oh man, I miss
Hopefully, this was a
Puka's-
nice palate cleanser to remind everyone how bad we used to be.
Good God. Dude, I'll never forget when we almost beat RG3. We had their fucking ass.
Oh my God.
I was so pissed. I think we just did stupid shit in overtime or something. Dude, this is I need this Chase Brown touchdown, boys.
Why did more guys like? If I were a coach, why would you not just try to go coach in Hawaii? Like that'd be sick. I guess you're.
It's like
traveling
it's like
all the time.
movie actors and stuff. They're like, yeah, let's shoot a scene in Costa Rica just to get a free 10-day trip to Costa Rica.
Colt Brennan?
Someday we do just need to do like a
Jeff
30-minute pod on Jeff Long.
I guarantee we can get him on
I'm
and just
looking at-
berate him. Ask the nastiest questions.
He
We
hasn't
knew
done
no-
anything
we were
since
like-
he got fired from here.
He was
Wow.
so funny though, and we didn't even see it.
The fact that we watched Les Miles fucking intro presser and still
Oh
were
yeah,
like,
I remember like I was watching that just like
I had my
okay,
questions, but I was still like, yeah,
he's
we're
he's a
gonna
li-
be
he's a little rusty, but he knows ball. That's fine.
what an
And it was
natty.
just like, but it was also kind of like looking around like,
The
am I hearing this the same way you guys are hearing this? Like this man can't speak.
to turn this program into like
Jeff Long, man.
he talked so slow.
Didn't even
Who the fuck is
consider
K-State?
Jeff Long didn't even
Dude.
consider another coach. Just went
Dude.
straight for him.
So Les like told the team he was retiring at Texas, that game we almost won. Like at halftime, like he was done.
Why?
Because can you imagine sitting there tight game? You're all fired up. Oh boys, I'm retired.
Oh, I'm ready. What's
Heavens.
isn't there a Forrest Gump scene where he's just like, oh, it's when he's jogging and he's like, I'm ready to go home now. And he just stops jogging. That's kind of how the last one was.
It's pretty good, Forrest.
Oh, Jeff Long. Remember when he said Dairy Queen? He was like, make sure to support local. And he like posted a selfie in front of Dairy Queen.
And slid
He's
down the
such a
pole.
barrel.
AB,
Oh, yeah,
any
like-
college football playoff thoughts?
Nothing different than anyone else has already said.
Well,
glad they
Howard's
went
in it.
SMU over Bama. My thing with Bama, and here is my actual rant about it. The SEC and the Big Ten, for that matter, they spend years trying to get the best teams to go to their conference so that they could be this super conference, and then they complain when they have to play against each other. It's just like, you guys wanted to deal with it. Don't lose 3 games. Just don't.
Also,
lose 3 games.
don't lose
They're-
to don't hype your good teams and then lose to Vanderbilt.
and
lose
then
to
get
the good
smoked by
teams.
Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Oklahoma stinks. They didn't have a chance in that game. So that's my
I'm so
problem. And
glad
I
they're
see all
not
these
in.
SEC and Bama fans like, we're never going to play a tough non-con schedule again. Well, first of all, your 3 losses were all SEC. You went 5-3 in your conference. I'm sorry, it's not good enough. Second of all, your non-con strength of schedule, you played Mercer, you played Wisconsin, you played South Florida. I mean, these teams suck. Like, let's not act like you could schedule them hard to begin with. So it's just
Yeah.
that really, their argument pissed me off. They just think they're holier. Then here's the thing: if we all had true
Here's the
serum in it,
thing.
if Alabama and SMU played tomorrow, we're probably taking Alabama. But I don't care. I don't care.
I'm so glad they're not in.
But
It
my
feels
other
weird
issue,
saying that without Saban, but God, they just won so much.
my other problem is some of the seeding, and this has been said by a lot of people, but it shouldn't be a thing that Oregon has to play Ohio State or Tennessee in the second round, and Penn State, who lost to both Ohio State and Oregon, gets to play.
They might
who they even
go.
played in the first. Who's the 11?
They got SMU.
SMU. They play SMU, and then if they win, they play Boise, and if they win that, they play Georgia with the backup quarterback. It's like, you gave
Texas
a team.
has a nice little path too. Texas is
Yeah.
12-point favorites, and if they win, they have Arizona State.
I have a problem with
Scatterboo.
Texas too.
Pink. But
Who's
he might
Texas?
have
What's
negative
Texas' best win? Can someone tell me? Because it
They
seems to
lost.
me they lost the 2 hard games on their schedule and they beat everyone else. I'm not sure they have a ranked win this year. Did A&M sneak back into the rankings?
No idea. Are there not futures on DraftKings
really
right now
just
for
don't
college football? Am I
like-
blind?
I just am not a big Quinn Ewers believer.
No. They got to play Archmore.
He said he was 70% healthy that game. Like, why? And the way Arch can move and is mobile, like, I don't get how you don't. He played a couple snaps, but how do you not have like a package for him, especially when you're in, even if you lose? So you're just risking yours at 70%.
Just silly.
You guys know who I think is going to win the Natty?
Koto Mickey,
Oh, Ohio State.
he's
wrong. No,
I'm
they're-
dead serious.
Yeah.
I kind
Here's
of
the
think
thing
they
about-
will.
Here's the thing about what you just said, Ryan. You just said Will Howard's a national champion.
Yeah, that does not pass the.
Yeah, they don't have
And
a
it's
ranked win.
such a tough road, too.
They beat Michigan,
No,
Vanderbilt
their
by
schedule was
30.
soft, dude.
Florida, Kentucky,
A&M.
Arkansas. Yeah, geez.
But like to me, it's like I don't know. I can't get past how much money they spent and how good this roster should be. Like, part of me just feels like if they get past Tennessee, Then it's going to be what? There's going to be a coin flip game against Oregon. You think Oregon on a neutral field will be like, I don't know. I feel like they're just really good. I mainly want it to
That
happen
was a really
because
good
Ohio
game
State
in
fans
Eugene.
will still want him fired, even if they win the national title, which will be so funny.
Can you imagine being
I
that
just
good? That
guys,
stubborn that you
I
want
don't know
him
how they
benched?
get off the mat and come back and win 4 games in a row. That's my big thing. They're talented enough, sure. They paid enough money, sure.
Will
But
Howard.
like the way that Michigan game happened and unfolded with how bad Michigan is. Michigan did not have a quarterback in that game. It was in Columbus.
20-point
Yeah.
favorite.
20-point favorites.
Ohio State's either getting blown out against Tennessee or they're like, I think gonna win the Natty. That's what I have accepted.
I kind of like Cole has Notre Dame here, he says. In theory, sounds great. Soft road if it all goes
Indiana,
to form. But the thing with
right?
Notre Dame is that they're Notre Dame. And when it comes to January, it's like
January, February.
we've seen it before. Yeah.
Do
November,
they beat,
December, Freeman.
I think it's a 7-point spread against Indiana. You're crazy. I think it's 7-point spread against Indiana. Do they beat them handily?
Indiana, I don't know. I kind of feel like Indiana's going to get the doors blown off of them. Their coach just seems like, I mean, nice guy, fun guy, but I kind of
Nice
feel
guy.
like it's going to be. I
Sound
feel
like
like it's going to
you're
be kind of
describing
like one of
Kawhi Leonard.
those.
I'm a fun guy.
You're
Yeah.
not. You don't belong here, sir. And I could
Kawhi
just
to
see
the
them-
Lakers.
What could have
Speaking
been.
of the Lakers, awesome team they've got this year.
Oh God.
Currently the
sorry.
8 seed. Currently the 8 seed.
He
30,
said
30,
twice.
39.
The 8 seed? That's what
Is
your
that what
goat's
they are?
shooting for?
Hey,
That's what your goat's shooting for.
LeBron's just got to get in the playoffs. 39-point triple-double the other night.
He's
People
50
forget
years
that.
old, baby.
He's having a great shooting season. Unfortunately, he missed out on his goal to play 82 games this year, and that ended on December 8th, 5 months before the season ended. So good for him.
Hey, but you know what?
Bronny's getting some minutes.
His
Bronny
son
he did an air ball to layup.
his son earned this spot on the roster, and that was not a photo shoot at all. It was real.
That doesn't even bother me, to be honest. 'Cause, like,
I couldn't believe that he was
playing
playing again. Sorry, go ahead, Peter.
I saw a hater report tweet out Bronny James' first dunk, and I was like, oh, let's see how it is. And it was like this far shoot of him like driving and throwing it up, and he throws it off the top of the backboard.
That's how I
Hate
found
to
out
see
he
it.
was still playing in the NBA.
Same.
Someone asked in the comments, and I've actually been wondering this, but he said, how close was KU to getting a bowl game at 5 wins? What was the deal at one point about 5? I'm not saying we should have, but I was wondering about the 5-win teams recently. Like, what's the rule there, AV? Like, wasn't there 5-win teams that made bowls, right?
Yeah, but it comes down to there's obviously a certain amount of bowl games set, and they got to fill those spots. So if there's not enough 6-win teams, then they go to the 5-win teams, and I think it has something to do with academics.
Would you guys
I
be
could be
embarrassed?
wrong on that. No.
I'm not embarrassed, but like you had all the expectations. You win all those games. You think you need one win to get in, and then you get smoked by 60, and then you're playing in the Tangerine Bowl against.
Yeah,
I
but
don't
to
know.
me, 6 wins, 5
Would've been
wins,
school history.
it's still just as big of a disaster. I think the
Mhm.
extra practice would have been good. Like that's why I would have wanted it.
Can I take one shot at our rival really quick?
Oh boy,
The rival that didn't beat us yesterday?
do they have any names?
Because I recall about a year ago, we got made fun of for playing an irrelevant team in the Guaranteed Rate Bowl.
Who
by
are they playing?
certain-
I haven't even seen.
Well, Ryan, they're playing a great organization by the name of Rutgers.
Organization.
Rutgers. So K-State Rutgers in a baseball stadium. You know what, UNLV? If they won on Friday, they would have been in the playoff. You know what? You can't say that about Rutgers. You really can't. They're a fake Big Ten team.
I gotta
It is
say,
funny how
what's
often
the
like
best-
things blow up in K-State fans' face.
And
What's
isn't
the-
Mizzou going to the Liberty Bowl this year? So it's like our two rivals talk shit on the bowl games we're in, and they both end up in them years later.
What's the best? I'm not even trying to be a hater. I swear.
Yeah,
but
you are.
what's the best bowl game K-State has won since, like, I'm trying to think, 2003, 4?
They only lost to Alabama by 30 in the Sugar Bowl. That was a good
I was
win.
like, yeah, they did. They made a fucking New Year's 6, which is cool.
Will
Would
have
they
it, baby.
beat?
But
What did they
They
beat
won the
LSU
Buffalo
when
Wild
LSU
Wings.
sat their entire roster? What was that bowl game a few years ago? Coach O. I don't know. It was like all
I can't
second,
remember which
third
bowl it
string
was.
guys.
oh my god,
Texas Bowl or something.
Look at the second to last comment. That would make me sick.
That would be so weird for Warner to go to Missouri. I mean,
Yeah, they did. D'Anthony Thomas opened up the game with a kick return for a touchdown.
Oregon.
I
punt
still
return
can't
or
believe
something.
that all K-State had to do was beat Baylor, and they make the national title game.
With Colin Klein.
They've got some sickening losses, dude.
And yeah, A&M in the late 90s. Big 12 title.
A&M, Florida Atlantic in the Elite Eight, Butler in the Elite Eight, Loyola in the Elite Eight. 3 Elite Eights in 10 years.
VCU.
Or no, 13 years. And they lose to Butler, Loyola, and Florida Atlantic. I mean, just a tough scene. But hey, they're cooking this year in basketball, let me tell you.
Yeah. Shouts to Zuby. 28 and 13 against them on Saturday. I will. Hey, you got to give credit to the Cats for battling in the first half. Going to halftime with a 4-point lead. You know what? I know you lost. I know you lose the game by 15, but you led in the first half.
Here's the problem. I'm going to get ahead of this right now. We're going to lose in Manhattan. So.
Oh yeah,
certainly.
Well,
so all jokes aside,
we've won 3 road games in 5 years.
So you're saying there's a
Dave,
chance.
day before the Super Bowl, that could be a rough weekend for
before
us.
the K-State game.
Hmm?
Patino talking about K-State like a couple days before the game. He said they have a high salary cap. That's
Good
all he
for
said.
them. Good for them.
And then they smoked him.
They need
Bring
a new
Zuby
GM.
back.
They need a new GM though. I'll tell you that, because if you got that salary cap, they're not bringing in Juan Soto. Which, by the way,
how's our GM?
A lot of money.
Yeah, Ryan, you need to start having sex and make sure it's a boy and raise him to play baseball.
Wow, that was an interesting way to get around.
I couldn't think of
comment.
what to say because I'm
Have
not
a
going to
kid.
do it. I'm scared.
Yeah, Ryan,
Make
you
sure
need
it's
to have
a
a son
boy.
that plays good baseball. You know,
Make sure it's a boy.
wild.
Yeah.
Could be like Henry Rowan Gardner, kid playing in the bigs.
Henry Rowan Gardner. The entire
Windermere.
summer.
Windermere. I don't want to hear. That's so fucked up. He's got asthma and he's telling him not to have asthma. I don't want to hear about it.
Oh, what
That's-
a movie.
I mean, pitching coach is the absolute best movie character ever. Like,
I'm pretty sure I read something.
besides
He's like
Heath Ledger and
I think he wrote the movie.
10 things.
Or
I hate
he's
about
the
you.
producer or something.
what's his
I
name
don't know.
again? He's the home
Bregman?
Bregman.
Bregman of Jesus.
Alex
Anthony.
Bregman.
Yeah.
You heat up
Let
the ice cubes.
Some
Oh, that's
pitchers
from the
think
world.
heat is the secret.
So
I've discovered the secret, Henry. Nice. That's right.
That'll help. Oh man.
What up? What up now? The best is when he goes to the they're at the club and he goes up to the pinball machine. Excuse me, ladies. Stand there.
excuse me.
Excuse me.
Alrighty. He's fucking
He's the best.
a kid.
God.
He was the director.
Let the
Yeah.
big dog-
Daniel Stern.
Dude.
Yeah, he's in Home Alone.
Dude,
Sure
yeah.
is.
He's Marv.
He
I don't
is.
even care
Marv.
that it is childish
Marv.
humor.
He's Marv.
Him hitting foul balls straight up onto his dome.
See that? You see what I did there? Now, give me the good stuff. Third time's the charm. That's the big doggy.
He's waggle.
It's the top
Oh,
of it.
man.
Like that movie is insane. Like his signals to the bullpen when he's coming. Like what? No one's ever signaled to the bullpen. You just fucking call them. You
Hit
know
him up.
what's that mean? That's the signal, kid.
I haven't seen a floater ball since Scruffy McGee.
Oh
Don't
god.
scream.
All-time movie.
Ched Stedman's an awesome name.
It is. He was
What's
washed
his-
though.
What's his name in real life? He
Chet.
he got twacked out. Like
Did he?
that.
Oh yeah. What's his
He
name?
went to Pitt
dude?
State, I'm pretty sure.
Gary Busey.
Yes.
Oh
Yeah,
Boy, did he do some drugs.
he did go to Pitt State. Damn.
wow.
Played
I didn't-
football, and once he got hurt, went to Okie State. Speaking of Okie State,
Stop. Gundy. See
hey,
ya.
welcome back.
Is he back? I've missed all that.
Wait,
Yeah,
what?
he signed a restructured contract
Oh.
to stick around.
I thought you were saying Boynton was back.
Oh, I wonder where Mike Boynton is. We said he'd be an awesome lead. Oh, he went to Michigan, didn't he? Didn't he go and coach with what's his name? Yeah, he's a Michigan boy.
Connor, the sign stealer.
Yeah, the very same.
What's his last name?
Bryce Underwood's football coach in high school.
Oh my
You
god!
say?
Can you believe that?
Hey, how about Kirk Herbstreit's son committing to Michigan, huh? One up for the
What?
Buckeye family losing on the
Ohio State?
Wolverines.
Is he like a big recruit?
He's a quarterback. He
I
signed
would-
after Underwood, so he's not going to play, but
There's no
which makes
way.
it even funnier.
I would. Can you imagine, Anthony?
If
If
our
you
son
have
committed to
sex and have
play
a
to
son,
Mizzou, or
and he goes to Kansas
if I have
State.
sex,
Well,
No,
and you have
I
a
think-
son, and he commits to Kansas State. You would not talk to him.
correct. Well, back to the rivalry thing. How much does the Mizzou game affect
That's
you
an
guys now?
even
'Cause
bigger rivalry.
I feel like
the
I
biggest.
don't even.
He went to
I
Michigan.
don't know many Mizzou fans, but I know a lot of
Yeah, I
K-State
know.
fans. So it's like that way. While it sucks to lose to Mizzou, and I know I'm supposed to hate them, it weirdly didn't hurt me as much as some other,
I
even
felt
if
the
it's like
rivalry
a
a little
Kentucky
more.
or I don't know.
I don't know.
I
why.
agree.
I felt it a little more yesterday. Maybe I'm
It was
wrong,
juiced.
but
I mean, it did. Like it was a good atmosphere, and like I was just so annoyed at how unprepared. Like our guys did not care early in
Not
that game.
a
I mean, they
shred.
cared,
No.
cared, but like that was not a team that felt like they were playing a rivalry game.
Nope. Any Thanksgiving takes?
Oh no, I gotta get out of here.
all right, boys.
But AB, you have any Thanksgiving takes?
He wanted to talk about it.
I know.
Well, I had 8 different pieces of pie. We had the.
Didn't have a single piece of pie. It was a rough day.
You're a pussy.
Smoked turkey though, all the way. All right.
Smoked turkey.
Guys being.
I didn't have any turkey. I went ham.
What do you guys do for Christmas dinner?
Same thing. It's pretty mediocre. I'm just not a fan of Thanksgiving food or Christmas food. Sue me.
Makes me sick to my stomach, Ryan.
I tell you what, man.
But I get it. I understand. Barstool Survivor takes. I don't know who's going to win. Are you caught up, Ryan? Braden, I'm not sure you're a fan. Ryan, you're caught up?
Or is this someone?
No, I haven't stopped thinking about it since Thursday, and I can't wait for tomorrow.
I agree with what Eric said in the chat. Never, Ryan. None.
Mhm.
There ain't no way.
His
There's no
reaction.
way. There's no way I'm producing a D1 quarterback.
Wow, man.
I'm focusing on golf strictly.
You could have some tall children. A little 6'5" point guard from Topeka, Kansas. I
I'd
can
be
see it.
sick. Be
Yeah.
sick.
Play at Washburn.
Yep. I want to name a kid JJ.
Name him Bods.
I think it's a
Bods.
sick name.
How about RJ Reinhardt?
Rye.
R.R. Reinhardt?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
right.
boys. This
All
was
right,
fun.
boys. Yep.
Let's
Yeah,
do
get
more
out of here.
Rookie of the Year talk next episode. I love that.
Yep. All right.
All right.
See ya.
See you,
See you,
boys.
boys.
Thanks for listening, folks.